Good evening, coons and coonettes. Thanks for tuning into another episode of the Dumpster Diaries Podcast. As always, I am Justin Allen, and I am here with Moses Wartooth, and boy, have we got some shit for you today. Dude, I want to say, if you go back to one of our old episodes, like way back in the day, like I called this shit with Syria, man. But if you're not watching any news right now, the dictator, Bashar al-Assad of Syria, has officially fled the country. He has stepped down from all power. He has actually flown to Moscow in Russia, not Moscow, Texas, but and has declared asylum, and Putin himself has signed off on the order to give it to him. So, round of applause, full circle, you know, just one piece of shit looking out for another, I guess. You know, they're all in it together, right, guys? But yeah, it's getting wild over there, man. Like the liberals over there, the liberal fighting force, has effectively overthrown the Syrian government, which is a big deal. It is scary. We'll get into that in a little bit. It is a little scary because there's a lot of shit that could go wrong in this process. But good for them, man, because Bashar al-Assad, man, he was just a horrible human being. I mean, his father was in control of the country for a very long time, and then in 2000 he was young, he was in his early 30s, he became the dictator of Syria, and everyone was very optimistic because he was educated, Western educated, he was very tech savvy, he was coming at it with like a holistic approach, like, hey, we're gonna be nice and get along, and all this other shit. They thought he was gonna be doing something good. Yeah, and then around 2011, essentially around the time you start looking at the Arab Spring time, right? There was a lot of turmoil in Syria. I mean, there always has been, because there's a region of the country that's controlled by the liberals. There's a region that's controlled by the Kurds. There's a region that's controlled by the Syrian government itself. It's really fucked.
Which part was in control of our Dominion voting machines?
Probably him. That's probably the fuck he got out of there, dude.
Biden was like, "You son of a bitch, we lost."
So we'll talk about the facts first, then I'll put on the tinfoil hat for 2 seconds, and then we'll get into that. But then, you know, he kind of gets into power like in the early 2000s. Like, I think it was 2000 actually, and then you know, time goes by. We get about 2011. There's a lot of turmoil and stuff like that. And he's getting a lot of backlash from his own citizens. And he starts to declare, like, he starts to use military force and stuff on them. And that's when he really becomes the person that he is today, where he starts doing a lot of executions, a lot of torture. People just start disappearing, like all kinds of shit. You gotta taste the power. Yeah. And then he just rolled with it, you know? And the thing is, like, his cabinet, all those fucking people that worked for him and stuff, I mean, they were all relics from his father's control. So almost like what we saw with Kim Jong-un after Kim Jong-il died, you know, because when Un first got elected, everyone was kind of like optimistic.
Yeah, they were like, maybe this guy will be better.
Yeah, and his brother's like cool as shit, you know, like his brother lives in Hawaii and like just gets drunk and sings karaoke all the time and like hates North Korea and then just like lives at McDonald's over there. Like he's actually a cool dude. I read into it like really deep. Like he's just a normal dude or whatever. I think they killed him actually, didn't they?
Yeah, they did kill him.
Yeah, they did.
They couldn't have that. It was a bad look for the family.
Whatever. But you know, so for whatever, you know, Bashar al-Assad, which interesting enough, his last name al-Assad is Arabic for the lion. So it means Bashar the lion, which is cool. And the base that I was actually stationed at in Iraq, just a very short distance from the border of Syria, was actually called Al-Assad Air Base. So the Lion Air Base was kind of cool. But this is why I wanted to cover this story, because it gets a little personal for me, because I did spend quite a bit of time pushing ISIS into his country. So, you know, we'll get onto that in a minute. But yeah, man, so, you know, it started getting a little dicey for him, man. And the liberals kind of decided, like, hey, you know, we're going to fight this fucking dictator. We're going to fight this regime. And we want change in our country. And so in a very unofficial proxy war sense, the United States was supporting the liberals who were like, yes, these guys want like an actual democracy, like all this other stuff, all the good shit. Basically Iraq 2.0.
Yeah.
And so...
interference at its best.
Yeah. And then the Russians were like, fuck that. We'll support you, Bashar al-Assad. We will help your government maintain control and then regain some land and territories that it's lost, a.k.a. push out the American influence.
Yeah, because it benefits them.
Yeah. And what's interesting, too, about when it comes between especially when you look from a military aspect, the relationship between the Russians and the United States, anytime there's an overseas base, there's a Russian base like a stone's throw away. It's kind of wild, actually. And interesting enough, one of the biggest bases in the Middle East that we have, at least Air Force-wise, is Incirlik Air Base in Turkey, right? And everyone knows about it. It's a huge hub. A lot of people stop there to transit in transit further downrange, like if they're going to Afghanistan or something like that or whatever. It's a good jump-off point strategically to other places that are a little more unstable and we have a vested interest in. But however, the thing is we lease that land from the Turkish government. We don't own it. They can kick us out whenever the fuck they want. And Turkey is interesting because they are a member of the EU. They're the only Arab country that is a member of the European Union. So it is literally the last stop before you get into the Middle East. As far, if you want to think about geopolitics, that's really what it is. And the problem here is a few years back, Russia somehow literally purchased, like they got like a permanent lease on land like a couple 100 miles down the road to build a massive air base that is in perpetuity. It can never be shut down. It will always be there. And it's just like they're always just right up our ass.
So shouldn't that blame really kind of fall on the Turkish government for allowing that to happen?
They're playing both sides, man. I'm gonna call it like I see it.
So they're really not our ally.
Fuck no, dude. Turkey is fucked. Dude, like Turkey's fucked. Because you got half the country that is westernized. They're cool, right? And then you got the other half that is hardcore Islam.
Radical shit.
Yeah, you know? And then basically when you get down to Istanbul, like half that major city becomes divided. And that's where it starts to get really fucking dicey. But I don't know. There's something going on with Turkey, but we'll wrap it all back in. I just wanted to kind of like say, hey, you know, the Russians have a history of doing all this shit. And it's no coincidence that Bashar al-Assad, the dictator from Syria, hopped on a fucking plane and flew him and his family to Moscow.
Yeah, dude, safe space.
Instantly granted asylum. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Vlad was like, my boy, come on.
Edward Snowden's there taking photos for him and shit, you know? It's like, whatever. But yeah, so as it stands right now, the liberals have effectively overthrown the government. And now the Syrian parliament is talking about a peaceful transfer of power, like, hey, we're going to let this go, which is probably in their best interest to do so, because if they don't, literally heads start rolling. So, you know, you might want to just get the fuck out of Dodge while you can, man. Yeah. You know, make hay while the sun shines, dude. Fucking move on. You know?
The Syrian government apparently has fallen after a sudden rebel offensive sprinted into the capital of Damascus. And tonight there are reports that Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has fled the country. The move brings a stunning end to the 50-year rule of the Assad family.
Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter joins us live from our newsroom with the latest on this breaking news. Leanne?
Michelle, the rapidly changing events shaking the region, several countries shutting down their borders with Syria as rebels take control of the country. Celebrations in Damascus as crowds topple a statue after a coalition of Islamist rebel groups called HTS sweep across Syria, taking control of the troubled country. The dramatic collapse marks a major shift in the Middle East, ending the Assad family's decades-long iron-fisted rule over Syria and possible radical change for the country.
What this may do is to herald a new situation in which there is an area in which a unified government is able to control Syria.
President Bashar al-Assad, who's been in control for 24 years, has reportedly fled the country. Syria's prime minister says he's ready to hand over the government to the opposition in a peaceful transition. The White House says President Joe Biden is closely monitoring the situation, and President-elect Donald Trump posting on social media, quote, "The United States should have nothing to do with it. This is not our fight." Syrians celebrating across the country, many chanting freedom. Experts say the opposition knew exactly when to strike.
And it understood very well what was going on in terms of the inability of the international community to intervene in Syria as it had in the past.
At this point, it's unclear what the HTS rebel group stands for or what this takeover could mean for Syria. The UN Special Envoy on Syria is calling for urgent talks in Geneva to ensure an orderly political transition. Live in the newsroom, Leanne Suter, ABC 7.
Well, For a second there, I was thinking in my head something fucked up. I was like, oh, is that Syria or is that the University of Texas campus?
Yeah, no shit. It's a fucking law kid.
Yeah, oh, great. Just another bunch of group of college kids in America. Fuck, But, yeah, I guess, the rebels, the liberals, as I like to call them, they haven't made their plans officially known. They're just like, hey, like, we're fucking tired of it. Which is, to go back, in the beginning when we started talking about this, something that I did bring up. Like, there's a lot of uncertainties and unknowns, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong with this.
Yeah.
Because this is a new government that's trying to step in that has not declared what their agenda is. You don't know what
So
it
the
is.
people are celebrating, but it could be the same scenario as when the last guy got in. They're hopeful, and they get in there and just fuck them the same way the last people did.
And you know what it sounds like to me? And I'm going to call it right now. I'm getting good at predicting shit on this show, man. I'm going to call it
Alex
right.
Jones 2.0.
Yeah, I've got the documents. But I'm going to call it right now. That's Al-Qaeda 2.0.
Yeah, the fucking, what was it, the
HTS or whatever
something
the fuck
like
it
that,
was.
yeah.
But
whenever they said that acronym in my head, I was like, ISIS.
Oh, it's like we're just gonna rebrand it.
Yeah, they're gonna swap some letters around.
It's ISIS.
not ISIS, it's SSI.
Yeah, come on. Oh man, like, dude, one of my favorite memes I ever saw was like, it was a picture of Ronald Reagan and it said, if I was still president, ISIS would have been was by now.
That's good.
But so I mean, while I like knowing me, fans of the show, people actually watch it, that I'm a very optimistic person for the most part, and if you exclude my rants. But I like to have faith. Like, hey, could this work? Could this be a country similar to like Kuwait that we could do business with, and it's relatively peaceful and it's like safe to travel and all this other stuff. But the reality is that's probably not what we're looking at right now.
I mean, based on the location, I don't have much faith.
Like any good realtor would tell you, location.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I would hope that those people get put in a better position than they were currently in.
Sure.
But I mean, maybe
Sure.
even if it's a 5% increase, like, come on,
Come on,
quality of life.
Yeah, we're better than we were 5%. So, but I do like Donald Trump's president-elect Donald Trump's stance on it. He was like, hey, like, this is not our fight. Like, we shouldn't be involved in it.
Which I think that's what the American people are wanting at this point. We're tired of always getting involved in the bullshit. We've talked about it forever. Every time we're in a fucking new war, a new conflict, we're like, should we really be here?
Yeah,
Most of the time, the answer is no.
Yeah. The only voice of reason on the internet is the Dumpster Diaries podcast. Take it to the bank.
That's
cash
100%
it.
fact. Yeah.
But
I mean, condone violence and don't take financial advice from us.
Yeah, like a quick disclaimer and shit. Like get like an auctioneer to say it or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's really fast. But yeah. So I don't know. Like, I mean, it's exciting. To kind of see. It's like, oh,
because at the end of the day, it's still change. They're sometimes just having that hope that something could happen is better than just being depressed and knowing that you're doomed.
Now, could it become a super radical country where
Very well
Sharia
could.
law is imposed and then you just say
Absolutely.
hello fucking Chop City and all that shit and caning people in the streets? That's where I think it's going to go.
Also a realistic possibility.
Also a realistic possibility. I feel like I'm in a casino and I'm on roulette.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just like put all your money on black or red. You got to make one or two choices. Like fuck.
Is it going to be 5% better or Sharia law?
Come on, So the whole time there's just like a bunch of CIA analysts just smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee and shit because they're all stressed out and shit. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. I just, for what it's worth, I hope the United States stays out of it.
Same.
Like, fuck that, man. We don't need that shit anymore. Clearly, Russia's done with them.
Yeah.
They got whatever the fuck it is they wanted out of that shit, or maybe maybe they chalked it up to a loss, because I want to say, man, I'm gonna get these numbers wrong. And I don't mean to. I'm probably going to have them flip-flopped. But I want to say it's about 400,000 people have died in Syria since all this shit has been kicking off. And then in Ukraine, I want to say it's around like 500,000, right? Russia is stretched beyond its means right now. Their economy can't keep up with this shit. They got wars breaking out on multiple fronts. I think what Putin did was just like, fuck it, come home, baby boy.
Yeah.
Daddy will take care of you. And then I think what is happening is they're going to double down in Ukraine.
And now we got Trump coming on board, and Putin knows he's about to get fucked. One way or the other, he knows something is going to happen, and it ain't going to be in his interest.
And I think he's looking at consolidating efforts into Ukraine. I think that's what's going to happen. And I hope I'm wrong. but I don't think that I am. Typically, when
really,
things,
like
I'm not.
Ukraine, Syria, like there's like Ukraine has much more resource. Like they're the better. If you can only have one, you're gonna want the Ukraine.
You got to decide: do you want to control Eastern Europe or do you want to control the Middle East?
Yeah,
essentially, is what you want.
And they're already they've got plenty of friends in the Middle East. So really strategically speaking, they would again benefit from Ukraine.
But I will tell you this, man. Mark my words, Putin is consolidating efforts in Ukraine, and that is going to ramp up. He's preparing for either some sort of peace treaty ceasefire where he comes out on top significantly and gains a significant amount of freaking land grab, like regional territory in that, or he's preparing to go fucking tooth and nail.
Yeah, because he can't be made to be the fool in this situation. So.
Anybody, I mean, I grew up playing, like, dude, I feel like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. Like, oh god, I hate always being right, because like I'm fucking pretty accurate with this shit. And I don't get it right 100% of the time, but I just read a lot of news. I spent a fucking decade in the military. I went to school for political science. I actively enjoy this shit. I pay attention to what's fucking happening. And after a while, after a decade of that shit, like, you start to see patterns, and it just kind of becomes obvious what people are doing. It's just a very long game of chess.
History repeats itself.
Yeah, it really does, man. And that right there is Vladimir Putin. That is him consolidating resources for a jump somewhere, potentially.
And he's not like... He's old, but he's not old. Like, no. he's still there. Yeah, he's still got a lot of fight left in him. Like, if he was a geriatric fuck like Biden, we'd probably just
we can weasel our way.
Yeah.
If you think Vladimir Putin's a fucking idiot, you're a goddamn moron.
That's
dude.
For sure, yeah.
That's basic Sun Tzu fucking art of war. Like, never underestimate your opponent, dude. Like, that's like one of the biggest mistakes you can make, is assuming that they're a fucking idiot. Because I don't give a shit who you are. Like, yeah, we can talk all this shit and stuff like that about different leaders or whatever. But the fucking reality is if you made it to the point of controlling an entire nation, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. You're not an idiot.
Yeah, you obviously have capabilities to do something correct.
Yeah, like, yeah, you got to that fucking level. Yeah, you know, now you may not be like an actual smart fucking person. Like, you may not know anything about like a certain type of science or like mathematics or history or whatever. But there's something about you. You got resources and influence. Like, yeah, that is a level of intelligence that often goes underappreciated, for sure, man. Like a social intelligence almost, really.
Yeah.
But
even fucking George Bush, man. He gets shit on all the time, but he was actually a relatively smart dude.
Yeah. Like, anyone who actually met him was like, yeah, he was actually like really nice and like really fucking educated. Like, knew what was. I mean, he went to fucking Harvard, dude. He had a degree in fucking history, and he was a fucking fighter pilot. Now he was in the Air National Guard, but he was still a fucking pilot nonetheless.
Yeah.
You know, and those tests are no fucking joke, man. Like, you can't be a fucking idiot and be a fucking pilot. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, you know, like, I remember looking at those tests because I considered taking them when I was, like, thinking about becoming an officer while I was in, and I was like, fuck this, dude. Like, you know. But, I don't know, all over the fucking place with this. But I'm predicting it on this fucking show, man. I am telling you right now, Vladimir Putin, there is a 50-50 coin toss this could happen. It will either be like a peace treaty / ceasefire, okay, involving him getting what he wants and Ukraine effectively folding a lot of their region to the Russians, or he will go on the offensive and it will be worse than we've ever seen so far. And I think that is what he's actually preparing for. And fucking God help us all, man. But I also don't think it's a fucking coincidence, dude, that Trump gets fucking elected. And Syria's on the chopping block. I mean, we haven't even got on to like my stories and shit there, but Syria's on the chopping block for the United States. Like, we are involved in that shit 100%. I know that for a fucking fact because I got the receipts, dude. Like, you know, been there, done that, got the photos, all that shit, you know. And, dude, I don't think it's a fucking coincidence that he just got the hell out of Dodge. I think he knows it's fucking over. Like, Trump coming back for his second term, because second term president is what you always got to worry about. That's when the fucking real shit starts to come in, dude. And I think he knows that Donald Trump is stepping back up to the plate, and he's like, fuck it, the game is over. Like, my country's already basically fundamentally in a civil war. Like, Donald Trump is about to become president again. I was in Iraq while Trump was president. We bombed the fuck out of Syria. Like, I mean, we were just attacking ISIS and shit, but yeah, dude, like, I mean, how much more fucking obvious does it have to be what you're doing, you know? And and the whole goal, like, while I was there, was to push ISIS into Syria and make it fucking Syria's problem. That's literally what it was. And because we were trying to stabilize Iraq, man. And very little talk was ever conducted about Iraq while I was there. Like, the focus was Syria. We just had established ourselves in Iraq, and we used that as a jump-off point. And so we do have a very vested interest in that region right now. Now, with Bashar al-Assad getting out, with the Russians basically fucking washing their hands of the shit, I don't know. Does the United States continue to fuck around in that region, or do we stay the fuck away from it? And that's the decision we have to fucking make. And I think right now, at least what Trump is saying, he don't want to have any fucking part of it. You know, don't want to be rebuilding that shit.
Fuck no, man. I mean, I'm more on the line of just letting them do what they're going to do over there and see how it turns out.
Hope for the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
You know, there you go, dude. You know, but so I don't know. You know,
I just don't want to waste any more fucking money on those that shit, dude,
it
man.
doesn't fucking go in. You know where it fucking goes? It goes to fucking weapons that get recycled and circumvented and get used against our own fucking people and allies. That's really what the fuck it is, man.
Always.
Because how do I say this? Because there are things I can't talk about from my time in the military, right? Let me just tell you this. Some of the weapons that were seized downrange from ISIS were still in manufacturing packaging, and they had bill of ladings, receipts essentially, from our fucking allies. So, if you really think all that fucking money is just going to fucking do the right thing, you are a goddamn moron. Now, backdoor deals are always fucking made. There's the clandestine services. I will acknowledge that at times that shit is necessary. But to me, I don't know, man. When I'm blowing up fucking mortars that have French on them, I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, it's better to just not give them anything at all.
So, but, you know, I don't think it's those people's fault. It's not. It's their governments and all this other stuff, their intelligence services and their military and all that shit. And it's very complicated. And I'm sure I'm just seeing a very brief glimpse of a big piece of, a small piece of a very big puzzle. That's all it is.
For sure.
But
again, I still care about Americans more than anything else.
And that's what we got to get back on the track with. And that's the whole point of me telling that story is like, fuck it, dude. It is what it is. Call it like it is, dude. Like,
that shit's crazy over there.
Yeah.
Let him go.
Yeah. The only bad thing about being in a bad relationship is being in a bad relationship for another day. Like, just end it. Move on, man. Like, it's fucking over, dude. And, you know, and I don't know, you know, we just need to stay the fuck out of it, dude. Because if we get wrapped up into that shit again, dude, it's going to be fuck. And then we're going to have the fucking, it could be it could be Iraq 2.0, maybe even fucking Afghanistan again. And it's just going to be a fuck all over.
Either way, just a total fucking waste of everything.
Yeah, dude. And it's just like, yo, what the fuck is going on over here, you know? And it's like, what the fuck does this region really have to offer us?
Nothing. We need to leave them alone.
Yeah.
Like, if they, all right, as if they attack us, blow them to pieces. Other than that, leave them alone. Like, let them do their own shit. We need to do our own shit.
I was listening to Trump talk the other day, and he was claiming that the United States, based on our landmass and territories that we control, we have more oil than Saudi Arabia does.
That doesn't even fucking surprise me. And yet we're still fucking squirming at the teats of them to fucking get anything out of it.
You know? And it's like, it's no secret. Like, with the fucking dozen or so fucking pages from the 9/11 Commission report, if you don't know what that is, essentially it was the investigation into 9/11 that Congress ordered. And what they did disclose, that while the document has, it's well over 100 pages, they only disclosed maybe 10% to the public, right? And what they did disclose and did talk about, and a couple of congressmen that were willing to come forward, it is clear as day that Saudi Arabia actually directly financed 9/11. Like that, I'm tired of people beating around the bush about it. That is actually what happened. It is not a conspiracy theory. It is a fact. So why do we continue to defend their fucking oil fields and train their fucking soldiers? I sat in classrooms with Saudis teaching them about American weapon systems. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Now, granted, those are general purpose bombs that have been used and been around for the last fucking half a century, but still, fuck that.
We're still helping our enemy.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You think those motherfuckers want us to succeed? Suck my dick, dude. That ain't fucking happening. That is stupid as shit, you know? So I don't fucking know, but I think the best thing to do is just be done with it. Just be done with it all.
The sooner we can cut ties and be as self-sufficient as possible, the better.
Like, when I was there, none of the Iraqis wanted us there.
No, none of them ever want us there, which totally understandable. If we had Iraqis in America, where we fucking, if they were training our shit, no, we wouldn't want them here.
You know, and one of the most bonkers shit, man, I won't say the guy's name because he's still in the military there.
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman. He was, it was a major in the Iraqi Air Force, and for the Iraqis to be in the Air Force, that is like the top tier branch of the government military to be in, and it's very difficult. It's not easy. It's not how Americans perceive it. Air Force, Chair Force. It's nothing like that. It's like you went to college, you did well, you're educated, like you have like this is where you want to be. And so it's no fucking joke. But I did become really good friends with a major over there who'd been in the Iraqi Air Force for quite some time as an air traffic controller. So he actually, it was like one of the most like gut-wrenching interviews I ever did. I was gearing up for an assignment for a class I was taking called Politics of Islam. And it was an online class. I was taking it while I was deployed. So where people have downtime, they'll play like spades or ping pong. I was just doing school, right? I was like, whatever. And so one thing I found, when it comes to doing research for papers, there's a thing called a primary source and a secondary source. Now, what most people use is a secondary source, like a secondary source being like you went and read a news article about this, so then you cite that news article and you basically quote what that journalist said about it, and then you can formulate your own opinion around that. And that's where you kind of get in trouble, like factually. But when you go with a primary source, it is the individual who is directly involved in that. And so I interviewed this major over Iraq, essentially what it was like before Saddam and after Saddam, because he remembered all of that shit. And it was very interesting to hear his side of the story. And he was like, I will acknowledge that Saddam was not a good guy. But he did say this. He was like, Iraq was safe. Mm-hmm. He was like, if there was any extremism, like terrorism or any shit, he was like, they just killed those guys.
Yeah, there was consequences. Like,
yeah. Now, Saddam did commit genocide on the Kurds, killed a few thousand. Those were like mustard gas and shit, and he was talking about invading Kuwait, a sovereign nation.
Not a good guy.
Not a good guy. Actively participated in torture and the execution of his political enemies. But he said Iraq was safe. He said you could walk down the street and be fine, and he said, now you can't. There's all kinds. I mean, when I was in Iraq, within 100-mile radius of our base, there was 150 extremist groups. 150 groups being at least 3 members or more. So you look at that and you start to kind of realize, I'm not saying that Saddam should have stayed in power. I'm not saying that at all. But with change is, I guess what I'm really trying to say is change is often a very long and difficult process.
Yeah.
And it's easy to lose faith. It's easy to let bullshit happen. And it's never, change is never fucking easy in general. And I don't know, but it was interesting to hear that guy say, like, my country isn't safe anymore, and he was like, we have all these foreign nations here, like the coalition forces, by the thousands in this country. And
before they didn't have shit and it was safer.
Yeah. And he's like, if I had it my way, like we would basically we would secure our fucking borders and then we would have you guys leave and never come back.
Yes. That makes perfect sense to me. Like, the fuck?
But it was just kind of sad, and he talked about having like wife and kids and all this other stuff. And now they lived in Baghdad, which is a relatively safe area because there is a huge military presence that acts as a police force, and there are checkpoints and stuff like that. But once you and there's parts of Baghdad that look like New York City. Like, it's fucking wild. They got nightclubs and shit there. Like, it's a wild time, dude. But you get out them city limits, buddy. You rolling some serious fucking dice, man. So, but it was just, I don't know, it was just interesting to kind of like see that or whatever. So I guess, I don't know, with all the serious stuff, man, like, I wish him best, but I hope we fucking stay out of it. And I think the United States needs to fucking get their hands around handling this Ukrainian shit in an appropriate manner. But what we really need to do is we need to fucking prepare. If that fucking ceasefire and that treaty shit that Trump's talking about does not go our way, or the Ukrainians' way, really, you need to prepare for them motherfuckers getting froggy, the Russians, because that will happen, and that's going to be ugly. I mean, they had I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'll keep going down that fucking rabbit hole like a motherfucker, man. But it's just a very dicey situation right now, and I don't think a lot of people are very aware of just how unstable it actually is. Like, this whole game can be flipped upside down.
Yeah.
And then there's a huge ripple effect. Like, you're not just talking about Ukraine. Like, Ukraine controls, like, it's all interconnected through globalism. And this goes back to an episode that we covered about globalism and shit. If one country is affected severely enough, it has this massive ripple effect all over the world. I mean, look at the 2008 financial crisis. It didn't start in the United States. It actually started in fucking Iceland, right? And then it hit Europe. And then once it fucked up Europe, then it just rippled over into our side of the fucking pond.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we got hit significantly, but so did fucking the Chinese market, like worldwide.
It's boom, 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 boom.
The Indians. The Indians.
Yeah, okay, Indians.
Yeah.
Like, the Indians. Indians. I like the Indians. We can do business.
I like Indian food.
I don't know why. I just went with the Trump shit. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, the Indians. Is that dot, not feather, right?
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
There you go. Okay.
There you go. That's the only differential.
Yeah, I'm dating a feather, not a dot, so that's kind of cool. I feel really cultural.
Now you can get away with saying a lot more things now.
You know, I
It's
thought
like a whole new list they got emailed. You're like, these are acceptable terms you can use.
I actually thought about that, especially like in my stand-up and shit that I do and stuff. I was like, dude, I could get away with like saying some crazy shit about Native Americans now because I'm actively dating one. So I don't know. There's a card.
I feel like the Native Americans have an extremely they don't care. Like
they get a good sense of
exactly. Yeah. They're not gonna get offended by anything anyway.
Yeah.
Hell, we've already fucked them so bad for the like. What are they gonna do?
they're just numb to it now.
Yeah, the tear.
Oh my god, dude. Okay, I cannot start shitting on Native Americans.
I'm not shitting on. I like Native Americans.
Cool.
I've never met a bad one. I'm just saying.
Never had a problem with them. Get together for a little powwow every now and then, whatever the fuck they call
A
it.
little peace pipe.
But so yeah, I don't know, but you know, there's a ripple effect when countries are affected. So you know, that's one thing I hate when they talk about it in the news, like Syria or Ukraine or whatever, and it's like you don't understand like how interconnected this is, like, and it just doesn't affect just their neighbors. I mean, especially if you start talking about like a country like Ukraine, for example, controls 25% of the wheat production in the world. You think that goes away? We don't all feel that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, yeah, things might get more expensive for us because we got the checkbook, well, we got the credit to pay for it, you know what I mean, if you want to get technical. But there's a lot of countries that don't, man. Those people start going fucking hungry, you know? And it just...
And then they start having to branch out.
Dude.
Who knows what they got to do?
Yeah. You know, and so you got to be really smart, man. You get a handle on this shit. And a lot of people don't realize it and they don't think about it. But... I do have faith in Donald Trump. While I don't think that he knows all the answers, I think he is smart enough. He's actually proven this, that he is smart enough to bring in experts who know what they're doing.
He's not afraid to although he is cocky, he's also not afraid to admit when he doesn't know the right thing, and he will get someone that knows.
I got a guy.
Yeah, exactly,
and then it's like Elon Musk walking out, like fucking next to RFK Jr. and Vivek
Occupy
Ramaswamy.
Mars shirt.
Like, woo, we're going to Mars, motherfucker. Dude, it is literally that movie Idiocracy.
Yeah.
It is literally that, dude.
Vivek's gonna be like, Gatorade for the electrolytes on these plants.
It's like RFK Jr., but it has electrolytes. Did you see RFK Jr. was talking about getting rid of all food dye?
No.
Yeah, talking about basically like if it's in food and it doesn't need to be there for nutritional value, out of here.
Dude, that would be so fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's talking about like severe radical changes and shit, like incoming.
People are gonna be mad. Like, there will be some getting used to. Like going to the store and meat is gray.
Yeah, or like Fruit Loops are all the same color.
Yeah, just Cheerios.
Yeah, they're just flavored Cheerios. Yeah, I was like, yo, this is a weird world.
Every drink is just clear now. Like
everything's black and white.
Yeah,
no like black, white, and
monochromatic fucking grocery store shit.
Just fucks your head up when you go into a grocery store. It's like, holy shit, dude. It's like in the first Clerks movie or some shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So you want to? I guess we just wrap up Syria, man, and move on from this. I think we've fucking exhausted 30 minutes of our life on that fucking shithole. I mean, best of luck to them. Hopefully, the rebels do right. I don't think it's going to happen, but, you know, I'm optimistic. And pay attention to what the Russians are doing in Ukraine, because that's about to beef up and they're waiting on some shit. And hopefully those hypersonic fucking missiles don't keep fucking dropping that for whatever reason nobody ever wants to talk about. So... whatever. Anyway, man, let's cover a news story.
Next disaster.
This one is also personal for me, man. There was an explosion at an apartment complex in my second favorite country in the world, the Netherlands. So America being number 1, Netherlands is number 2. And for those of you who don't know, I spent a lot of time there, know quite a bit of people there, but there was an explosion in The Hague at an apartment complex. I believe it took out like 5 buildings. Right now they're doing an investigation to see what caused it. Was it high-powered explosives? Was it a gas leak? Who knows? You know, and if you know anything about Western Europe... you thought Mexicans were a problem in America? It's like they got real shit coming from the Middle East, man. Okay, that was a joke. All right, like Mexicans are not a problem. Well, I don't know, fucking whatever.
Mexicans aren't a problem. It's the other motherfuckers.
yeah. I was trying to equate it.
Yes,
to be like,
you are
we got motherfuckers from the Middle East coming here and shit that would actively hate our quality of life.
Yeah.
But I'm cool with the guy trying to sell tamales on the streets.
Same, they're pretty good food. Yeah.
Versus the dude who's just like smuggling.
Wants to blow me up.
Yeah, Simtex in a fucking unmarked van, like, you know, or whatever the fuck they're doing. But so there was an explosion, and to give a little backstory, I know a guy, good friends with him. Andrew is actually his first name. I'll leave his last name out of it, but because of where he works, he does work for the government there. It's kind of like a high-profile job, but he's a good dude. But he lives actually only a few blocks away from where this happened.
So he probably felt the rocking.
Yeah.
If he wasn't evacuated.
His house was like all fucking up on the inside and shit. Yeah. I was talking to him a little bit on Facebook. He's like, we're totally freaking fine. Like, wife, kids are all fine, man. But I mean, it's scary. You know, things are, while it seems like the world is a big place, it's actually a really small place. Especially the more you get to know people, you start to realize everything's kind of connected a lot more. But we do have a video about this explosion. We'll watch that and kind of let them talk about it for a minute.
An explosion in the Dutch city of The Hague on Saturday destroyed several apartment buildings and injured multiple people, according to authorities. 5 apartments were in a section of the building that completely collapsed, emergency authorities said. 4 people have been brought to the hospital, but firefighters could not say how many people may still be under the rubble. Dutch authorities deployed a specialized urban search and rescue team to the scene, with 4 dogs trained to find victims.
Yeah. So, who knows, man? Could have very easily been a gas leak. But with that amount of damage and stuff, I'm not buying that for 2 seconds.
Yeah, but it does seem a little excessive for an accident.
Yeah, it looks like C4 to me, but that's just me, man. Maybe some Simtex, but who fucking knows, you know? So, but hope the best for those guys, man. That's unfortunate. But yeah, dude, it was just crazy, like, to see, because my buddy had posted about it. I was like, oh fuck, dude, and you know, I hadn't talked to the guy for a little while, but usually about at least once a year, once every 6 months, reach out. But I mean, it was just wild to know someone that was like right there or whatever.
Which, if it was a malicious attack by an organization, normally they'll own up to it.
They'll take credit.
Pretty soon. Yeah, they'll be like, yeah, we did this shit.
Yeah. So
unless it was an individual and
lone wolf.
Yeah,
a lot of those popping up lately. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. But there's a lot of attacks that happen in Western Europe. A lot of them don't even really make it on the news anymore. There's a lot of stabbings, acid being thrown in the face. There's a lot of, when I was in Germany, one thing that started was they started pushing people in front of trains.
Yeah.
You know? And you hate to say it, man, but, you know, facts are facts, man. And it was always the same demographic doing it.
Well, that's what my next question to you was, do you think it is suppressed in the media because it's an immigration issue that they want the government cause it?
100%.
Because that's what they're heavily dealing with in the UK as a whole.
Yes.
Like, they're actively suppressing attacks from immigrants onto their citizens, and the citizens are getting fucking pissed at this point.
Because it's not racist.
No.
If it's fucking true. And it's like, That is true, clear as day. You cannot deny that fact. Like, you cannot deny this evidence, you know? And they just live in perpetual fear of being called
racist.
An it or ist or whatever, you know?
Yep.
And it's like, fuck that. Have a spine. Stand up for the citizens you were elected to fucking
stand up for your own
represent.
people.
Yeah, dude. And I think anyone who cowers at that shit in those positions, man, dude, I'm trying to get away from the death threats on this show. But there used to be a word for it and the punishment was death, is all I'm fucking saying, you know? And I don't know. But, you know, Western society is changing as a whole because we're all getting fucking tired of this shit, man. You know?
It's like getting bullied at school, man. Whenever you're gonna get fucking tired of that shit.
Yeah, you're gonna fuck that dude up,
yeah.
You know? Like one way or another.
Again, not condoning violence, but just saying.
Yeah. You know? So, I don't know, man.
But do you think...
It's like people get fed up eventually, like my shirt. Nah. Rosa Parks.
She took a stand.
1955. Take a stand for what matters. Or take a seat, whatever you...
Oh man, a quick thing that I thought was funny. Like I was watching a thing and it brought up Rosa Parks' death. So like, and to honor her, they flagged off all the front row seats, effectively making all the black people have to sit at the back of the bus.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, a buddy of mine makes these, and he was like, "Hey, you should wear it on the show." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll do it."
That shit's awesome.
I put it on today before I came over here, and I stopped by the gas station down the road from my house, and I go there all the time, and I know like everyone who works there, right? So I'm friendly with everyone. They all know my name, first name basis, and all this other stuff, right? Small town shit. And I walk in, and I actually forgot that I was wearing this shirt, and I will say this. There is one black lady that works there, and she's just ghetto as fuck, dude. And she's sweet. I mean, she's nice. She's always been nice to me. And she always got the wildest jokes. And I walk in, and she looks at my shirt, and she goes, "Oh, hell no." And I was like, "Oh, shit." I was like, I'm sorry. You know? I mean, we had a good laugh about it or whatever, you know? I was like my white ass in there wearing that shit. So... But
shout out to Rosa.
Yeah, there you go. Never forget. So, but yeah, man. So I don't know with this. You know, I mean, could it have been a lone wolf? Could it have been a gas leak? Could have been all that stuff with this explosion in this apartment complex in The Hague. And I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, they're doing investigations. My buddy said like everything is like no one's getting in and out right now because the Dutch don't fuck around with that shit either. Like they're like, no, we're gonna figure this shit out.
Lockdown,
you know.
man.
But you know, like we were talking about a little while ago, man. You know, Western society is just getting tired of it, man. You know, fucking call it what it is, man. You know, be like, hey, this shit is a fucking problem, dude. You know, and it's like. You should be able to feel safe walking in your own neighborhood.
Yeah.
And if you don't, something is wrong with your society. Something is. You know, and these people who are elected, I don't give a fuck what they say. They have the ability and resources to fix all of that.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't.
See what Poland's doing. See what Hungary's doing. They're fucking taking a stand and doing what's right.
They don't give a fuck. Dude, fucking Hungary? Dude, when that Syrian refugee crisis was kicking off, they built, on the entire border of their fucking country, they built an electrified fence with razor wire, like double barriered shit, and like had signs in fucking Arabic that literally
every language
literally said, "You touch this, it's gonna kill you. Like, don't fucking touch this fence."
Dude, Polish border, they have armed guards, and they were like shoot to kill.
Yeah,
they don't care.
I respect it
for sure, man. They're taking care of their fucking people.
We're at that fucking level. You know what I mean? Like this isn't like a simple like neighboring country. Like, okay, it's a little shitty here. I'm just gonna try to hop a border. And,
they're
like,
skipping like 10 countries up.
Yeah, they're targeting yours.
Yeah,
you know, and then it's like I can understand. Let me put it this way. To bring it home, I can understand the immigration issue between Mexico and the United States. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, I get it. But the problem is, and what we've uncovered, we talked about on the show, other people have covered it, RFK Jr. covered it, Elon Musk covered it. These are all credible fucking people who went down, filmed it, documented it, fucking published it.
Yeah,
all
live at the border.
it ain't the fucking Mexicans, man. It ain't even a Latin American. No. You know, like
not even the same fucking continent.
yeah, dude. It's not even the same fucking continent.
Like
they got
oceans between us, man.
They got on a plane.
Yeah.
On a fucking plane, dude. Like, or got on a boat for fucking 3 months.
Yeah.
But still, man, it's a fuck ton of Chinese and shit coming over, man. It's a lot of Middle Eastern shit, dude. It's a lot of shit from fucking Africa. You think there ain't some fucking crazy extremist groups in Africa? Did you fucking look that up?
Yeah, like we or like as Americans, we might not really think about Africa that much, but dude, they're crazy out there.
Crazy as fuck.
Like, they got crazy shit going on.
Like, I mean, North Africa is essentially the middle fucking.
I was gonna, it's like dark age shit.
Yeah, dude.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Dude, I can't wait till February. We're gonna have a good episode. But oh my god. It's all jokes, guys. Fun and games. But yeah, man, and it's like there's all these extremist groups in Africa and shit like that. And like nobody can fucking name them. Nobody knows what regions, what ideologies they support.
I don't even think they know. Like,
yeah, it's changing. It's even worse than like the Middle East sometimes.
Yeah, like you want to talk about literal tribal warfare, man? Because those people, I mean, I would even put them as a step below the Middle East as far as like being like having amenities and shit. You know what I mean? Like, dude, some of them they don't have nothing.
Yeah, I mean, ISIS is very much still alive in Africa.
Yeah, true.
Right now, and it's like funneling lower and lower into the continent. Like as time goes on, it's fucking crazy. But like, I mean, most people can only name Boko Haram and ISIS, you know. But then really, when you realize there's hundreds of them, like just it's
just like American gangs, dude. Yeah. Like there's the Crips and Bloods, Latin Kings, but then there's different individual sects of every fucking street and corner and like anywhere like.
And so when you see these motherfuckers like getting on a plane, hopping on a boat, coming in through fucking
chugging on through our border,
Honduras, making that fucking track all the way up, getting through Nicaragua, whatever the fuck they need to do, all through fucking Mexico, then fucking getting around that fucking
border. Hopping on trains, planes, and automobiles, man.
yeah. It almost sounds like a fucking comedy.
Almost.
You could probably make a comedy.
If it wasn't so serious, it would be fucking funny.
You could probably make a comedy about a terrorist making it from some one of these fucked up countries, his journey to get to America.
Dude, that would be a very interesting documentary. I guess you wouldn't have to be a terrorist, dude. You could literally just put a GoPro on any of them motherfuckers and be like, yo, document this shit. We'll give you $50.
But, you know, I mean, when I saw fucking, I saw video. Like, these weren't these were legit journalists who went down there. Piles of fucking Chinese passports. Once they get over the American border, they just throw them away.
They don't need them anymore.
And then they give them a fake name, whatever. We have no record of who these fucking people are.
Your name's Toby.
Yeah. And they're all like men between like the ages of like 22 and 35, you know, and they're like no families and shit.
War fighting age, you say?
Yeah, dude. It's like, oh, they're just here to start a new life. Got it.
Yeah.
Fuck right off, dude. You're literally being invaded.
Yeah. Again, funny if it wasn't such a serious fucking thing.
Yeah, right? Like, no shit, man. So, I don't know. I guess this whole episode's about fucking disasters and political turmoil and shit.
We're back to our roots, man.
Back to our roots, man. Holidays has a little fucked up, but we're good, man. We're good. Back at it again, man. Woo! That's what the people want to see. But, I don't know, man. It's just a fucking wild thing, dude. But, shit's gonna change, man. It's gotta change. It cannot go on like this on a long enough timeline.
No.
If it does, America literally fails if it does. Like there are certain key factors historically that occur in the fall of like a major civilization, and one of them is literally immigration. Now, doing it, I believe America is founded on that. Doing it the right way, the legal way, all that safe way.
Like keeping the numbers in check,
all that shit. All day, every day, I encourage it, man. Because anyone I have ever known, and I've met a lot of motherfuckers who have migrated over here. Anyone I have ever known, dude, from the Middle East, from fucking Latin America, South America, every fucking place imaginable, dude, all fucking Europe, you name it. They are, all the ones who did it right, dude. Those are some of the most American motherfuckers you'll ever meet.
Because they earn that shit.
Yeah, dude. And they actually value it and appreciate it.
And they hate the motherfuckers that are doing it illegally, too, because it fucking devalues what they had to do.
And if you never talk to, like, especially if we talk to people who came from, like, struggling countries, like, impoverished or
like
war-torn
Philippines or something, like...
Dude, they don't play any of that shit. They're just like, you want to get out of it? You want to come in here with, like, all this fucking, basically what we see, like, from, like...
handout shit.
The liberals, like, fucking left and shit, and be like, fuck it, everything's horrible, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to have some terminology for for this and that. I just made up fucking yesterday and be a victim about everything and blah, blah, blah. They don't fucking play that. No. Any Filipino I know that fucking came to this country to fucking actually become an American and start a fucking life, they ain't all voted for Donald Trump. I'm just being fucking real with you, dude. It's like, I know it probably doesn't sound that great hearing a white dude say that shit with blue eyes, but like fucking the reality is that is what it is, man. And I respect it a lot, But I don't know. Times are changing, man, and things are about to get a little. I think when you said it, I think a few episodes ago, when you said it, things are going to have to get real extreme for a little while just to fucking course correct and bring that pendulum back to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And then it's going to fucking relax. But if everything can go right, I don't know. Maybe.
But at this point, I mean, I'm hopeful. Like, Trump got elected. Like, I feel like next year is going to be a real solid push in the right direction. So
I feel like we all about to make some money, baby.
You are right on that.
Cha-ching, motherfucker. Yeah. We should reach out to like the Trump administration and be like, we supported you the entire time. You owe us.
Yeah, like, where's our fucking cut?
What if we could find in some fucked up county, like one of those 27 counties that basically decide who the next president's going to be? What if we could find that, like, one dude watched, like, one clip of ours, and that was, like, the swing vote in that county or some shit? It actually turned the whole election. I don't know. It'd be, like, some fucking wild shit. Like, dude. I don't know. You want to touch on South Korea before we get done? I mean, I've still got, like, another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, some shit.
On a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
In South Korea, we both love that place. Like,
I got to do this real quick, though. Hearts and prayers go out to all the people in The Hague, man. The Dutch, like, they're great, amazing people. Hopefully it was just an accident and it wasn't some other fucking bullshit going on. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Keep your wits about you on that. But the next story we do got to go on, South Korea. I didn't see this coming,
Not
dude.
at all, man.
Holy shit.
I was on, like Syria, okay, another day. Like, who the fuck cares? Yeah. But South Korea, whenever they were doing some crazy shit, I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Those poor people.
Yeah, so for the people who don't know, Moses and I both lived in South Korea at one point, independent of each other.
Yeah.
So
never saw each other there. Like.
Yeah, we literally like passed each other. Like he was leaving and I was going in. It was like a few months. I think it was only like a few months.
It was very close, yeah.
Because I remember when I found that I was like, shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were in South Korea, like it was like an hour and a half outside of Seoul. Mm-hmm. Seoul being their main city, FYI, it's like 8 or 9 times the size of New York City. So to kind of put it in perspective,
and about 15 times more awesome.
Yeah, dude, I never had a bad time in that city.
I love that place.
Fuck, we need to go back.
We need to go back.
We need to go back.
Maybe after this shit kind of dies down a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna get on to this. But so yeah, dude, South Korea's president freaking literally he declared martial law. And the thing about South Korea is they are the most peaceful people I have
disciplined, respectful,
met.
like kind.
Yeah, genuinely kind.
Yeah.
And I mean, most Asian cultures will have some aspect of this, but they'll also, like, for example, like in the Japanese culture, there was things they were real strict about and like almost could be perceived as being kind of assholes when it came to respect and stuff. But in the Korean culture, I never really saw that.
No, not at all.
But Korea is also very westernized. Going back to the Korean War, like when the Soviets took the North, we took the South, and we rebuilt the South, all that shit, man. So there's a lot of Western influence that happens there, and they just took it to a whole nother level.
It's like they took all the good shit and just focused on that.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. And they just want to have a good time. There's no fucking crime. No. There's no drugs. Like there's no issues. Everyone just drinks and parties and just hangs out with friends and family, and it's great, man. It's a great place. Like it is if you ever get a chance to work there, a good-looking single woman ain't got a problem walking down a dark alley at 2 a.m. Is all I'm saying, But you don't have to worry. You leave your door unlocked. Ain't nobody gonna rob your shit, Yeah,
like the first word that comes to my head when I think of South Korea is safe. Like
you can literally like if you pass it on the streets and people will like actually like be cool about it.
I've done it.
I've literally slept in alleyways in South Korea. Yep. Like people are like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. Like, okay, have a good night. I don't. Just don't worry about me. But
using a bottle of soju as a pillow.
Yeah, that soju shit's good. But soju being basically sake rice wine, pretty much, but it's flavored over there, so it's like Gatorade with alcohol.
And it's essentially tasteless. Like anything you mix it with.
It's Blackout City. That's what that is, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, we actually got to tell this story.
No, enough about all our fun times over there. They got real shit going on right now.
Yeah, they got real problems right now. But when I was there, it was great. So, shit, I was there when Trump got elected the first time. It was a wild fucking time. That was back to the old throwback. That was when he was getting into the shit with Kim Jong-un, like, oh, I have a button, I have a bigger button. Yeah, calling him Rocket Man and shit. Yeah, I was there for all of that. But anyway, so South Korea's president just declared martial law in the country. And that was weird because that is so out of character. That is way out of pocket for anyone in South Korea, you know. But we'll watch this little video about it to kind of like kick it off, and then we'll just talk about like what the fuck is going on in South Korea, man.
In South Korea, an impeachment vote to remove the president, Yoon Suk-yeol, has failed, with members of Mr. Yoon's own governing party boycotting the proceedings. Well, let's go live now to Seoul and to our correspondent there, Jean McKenzie. Jean, just tell us what happened here with this vote.
Yeah, we're just outside the voting chamber now, so in the centre of the Parliament Hall, and we've just found out, as you say, in the last 20 minutes, that actually this vote has not been able to go ahead. It has been a dramatic day here in the Parliament. Actually, we can hear people just behind us now chanting and shouting, and that's sort of been the theme of the day. There have been so many twists and turns. To explain to you how we got to this position, it looked like the vote was going to go ahead as planned, but then the members of President Yoon's party, the ruling party, they started one by one to walk out of the voting chamber, deciding that they actually were not going to take part in this vote. They were going to boycott it instead. Now, the reason this is important is because the opposition party did not have enough votes on their own to impeach the president. They needed 8 members of the ruling party to vote with them. So when they started walking out and boycotting the chamber, there was a lot of anger here. People flooded to the doors of the chamber. They were shouting, traitors, traitors, go back in and vote. Now, surprisingly, over the course of this evening, a couple of the members of Parliament have come back in to cast their vote, and it looked like at one point this could swing things, but the Speaker has called it tonight and decided that actually there are not enough members here to be able for this vote to go ahead.
Jean, what happens next now that this motion has failed?
Well, the opposition party is certainly not going to give up here. They have said that they will keep bringing these impeachment motions until they are successful. And you also have to consider what's happening outside this building right now, which is that tens of thousands of people have travelled from all across South Korea to be here today to protest against the president and to demand he stand down. Now, they've actually surrounded the Parliament compound, which we're in at the moment. They're blocking the exits. They are furious with these MPs for walking out of the chamber. So even though his party has decided to save President Yoon, it is unlikely that the people here are going to be so forgiving. And if these protests continue to build, his position could soon become untenable.
Ooh, somebody's got a case of the Mondays. And I'm like, holy shit, dude.
So those people, I don't like the fact that they walked out without that. They didn't do their job.
They should be like legally obligated.
Yeah,
you will
like
cast a
they
vote,
were put
yes
into this
no.
position.
Yeah.
You were supposed to vote. That is your fucking
God.
job, man.
Ooh, it's the most chicken shit thing.
For sure, man.
Our congressmen do it all the
No,
fucking
they
time.
damn sure do.
Like, they just
sure
won't
do.
show up, or they'll
fuck,
be like,
they'll
no
hop
vote.
on a plane and go fucking fuck off somewhere and miss their meetings. Their only fucking actual paid job to do.
Yeah, everyone's guilty as fuck. It's because they get in a situation where it's like, oh, I want to vote yes for this or no or whatever, but it would go against what my constituents believe I stand for. So it's better that I just don't show up. It's the most cowardice fucking bullshit you ever see in your life, dude.
So I completely understand why those people are mad as fuck.
Yeah, I just think it should be like high school. If you ain't got a doctor's note, bitch, like you need to be in here. Yeah, you know. You got 3 days to bring that doctor's note in, you're fucking out of here. You know? Isn't that what it was? Like, you had 3 days to bring a doctor's note? Yeah.
Unexcused, bitch.
You only get 3 of them and then you're fucking done. But yeah, man. So I guess, the fucking South Korean president got caught being a little dirty, a little sneaky, and it sounded like the people wanted him out. The opposition was like, fuck it, like we're getting this motherfucker out of here. And then they didn't have enough votes to secure it. So it's just getting back and forth, nasty as shit.
So I mean,
impeachment trial is going
I'm on the side with the citizens. Big surprise. I mean, they should just keep doing what they're doing, and if they really feel like he should step down, then he probably should fucking step down because there was no reason to declare martial law as far as the information I have. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
I mean, maybe more shit will come out.
Maybe
we're not living there now, so
exactly.
I mean,
maybe there was some form of justification as to why, but apparently those people don't fucking think so. So
yeah, I mean, they're standing out there totally fine now, So. That's martial law is something I don't fucking play with too lightly, man, because
anytime that it's like even like hinted at or threatened, like it's fucked up, man.
Oh, it typically never ends well.
No.
Like historically it never ends well.
That's like some last resort type shit.
That's right before you're fucking getting thrown in jail cells and shit, dude. And then if you want to go the World War II Holocaust route, that's where then, later that's where executing starts and shit.
Hop on that train.
Yeah. You think I'm full of shit, man. Just look at what the Australians did during COVID with their fucking COVID camps.
Yeah.
Where they were snatching people up.
Which is still like hard to even process that actually happened.
Look that up. That's not even a conspiracy.
No,
it was covered by BBC.
Went on. Yeah.
Like straight up. And they were like, oh no, we have COVID camps where people had COVID. They went and abducted Australian citizens
out of their own homes,
own country at gunpoint, and threw them literally in fucking camps, like FEMA camps, like set up in tents, and they just had to sit there for fucking 2 weeks, and it was under the threat of all this legal bullshit, even the threat of violence and the possibility of death, like for real. Like, I mean, what do you think it's an extreme to say the possibility of death? Why do they have a fucking gun pointed at your fucking head? You know what I mean? And
for being sick.
I don't know.
Allegedly. Yeah. Some of them weren't even. Some of them didn't even have. Yeah.
Some people were just flying in the country and they're like, you have to go to the camp for 2 weeks. And they were like, we're not sick. And they were like, yeah, but we had to be sure. Like, fuck you, I'm gonna get sick if I go in that fucking camp. I'm not fucking doing this, Be
like, that's literally that's what they do to animals whenever they ship them overseas. You gotta get quarantined for 30 days.
It's funny you should use that term, man. That's what they do to animals, dude. Because at the end of the day, we're just fucking cattle for the fucking elitists that are in charge, But I feel globally, like, especially in Western society, man, them reins are fucking getting loose, man. I think a lot of it is thinking, like, thanks to podcasting. I think a lot of it, like, a lot of bullshit's starting to fucking come out, dude. And
the mainstream media is fucking dead.
Fucked.
Like, it's falling apart.
If I worked in that shit, I would be fucking terrified for my future, dude. I'd be like,
God, we better quit and start a podcast.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like 20 years ago, it was easy to rile in everyone, have control.
For sure, man.
They only know what you tell them, like all this other shit, Yeah, occasionally there's an investigative journalist you got to snuff out.
But you could easily just discredit them.
Like, it was a game, essentially. But now it's like, now you got all these independent content creators and independent investigators and all this other shit or journalists or whatever, going at it.
And plus, everyone has a fucking professional grade video camera on them at all times, man. You can go live to fucking multiple platforms and be seen by millions of people at an instant.
It's like fucking Johnny Cash, man. What is done in the dark will come to the light, man.
Yep, very true.
And I just think we're entering the age of truth, and I think a lot of fucking skeletons are about to start dropping. But I also think that some people are willing to acknowledge, forgive and forget, and move on, because I was actually reading today, Trump gave like a statement where he was essentially saying that he's not going to investigate Biden or anyone. Like, he's, what we talked about, I think on the last episode, actually, he is going to just move on, just let it go. And bro, tell me that as much as I'll be a vindictive asshole. I really fucking will. You fuck me over, like, I'll fucking tooth and nail till I fuck you back, right? But the thing is, dude, if he can just do that, just be like, fuck it, you're done. Even fucking pardon everyone. Be like, fuck, it is over, right? And then just focus on the future for Americans, and he actually rocks it and wins and shows that is a fucking perfect ending to that, dude. And be like, my shit works, your shit's done, fuck you, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it might make us feel better if Biden gets punished, but it ain't gonna fucking help us. You know, like,
Because if he goes after those fucking guys, man, it's just repeating another 4 years of this shit, dude. And it's like, it's time to fucking be done with it, man.
Like if there was some way where he could essentially like, which I guess Biden's obviously fucking done, but if he could essentially like disbar and make sure that those people can't be put into any positions of power again, that would be good enough.
Yeah.
Just be like, get the fuck out of here. You're done. You had your little fucking fun run of bullshit. Now get out of here.
Yeah, you know. So I don't know, but we'll see. What, January 20th?
Yep.
Ooh, that's a wild time, man. I don't know. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Dumpster Diaries Podcast. Hit us next week. Every Monday, man, we try to drop sometimes.
We're pretty good.
But, yeah, we're pretty good. Just the holidays keep us busy or whatever. So, but, yeah, man, be safe. Pay attention to what's happening in the world. And good luck, guys.